You're listening to PlayStation Power. I'm George. With me is Greg.
That's my name.
Don't wear it out. Or can I wear it out?
Whatever you want to do.
I don't think you should tell me to do that. Anyway, we are covering Crash Bash here. A game that was a part of my childhood, a little bit. Greg, have you ever played this game before?
Never had even heard of it before you mentioned it, and I think there's a reason for that.
There's a few people that I talked to that were just like, I was not aware this is a game. So this was a Crash Bandicoot kind of Mario Party ripoff in a way, released for the PlayStation in North America, November 6, 2000. EU, December 1st, 2000, Japan, December 14th, 2000. Interestingly enough, I found out that Crash Bash is called, I think it's called Crash Bandicoot's Carnival, or Crash Bandicoot Carnival in Japan, which is interesting, but Crash Bash would not make, I don't think Crash Bash would make sense in that territory, so, I don't know. I'm rambling. The developer was Eurocom Entertainment Software, and the publisher was Sony Computer Entertainment.
Of course.
Yeah.
Because this is after, like, Sony had already bought Naughty Dog and therefore had the rights to the series, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I forget which Crash game was the last Naughty Dog Crash game.
Yeah.
But it is a real shame that the developers, like, changed hands multiple times over this, because I think Naughty Dog could have done really well with the Crash stuff. And then I'm sure they also would have stopped at a point eventually, because these Crash games kept fucking going and going and going until people just didn't want the games anymore. My god. And that was, I mean, the reason why that happened was because of eventually Vivendi got a hold of the Crash license, I believe.
Right.
And that was poo-poo. But they're coming out with a trilogy remake, which I'm interested in seeing how that's gonna go.
So I mean, like, you know, like, yeah, because like we mentioned that briefly in our last episode, because like, you know, that only because that there's another like classic series that's getting like the modern like remake. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see how it turns out.
Buddy Joe, Joe and I talked about the whole Crash thing, and he was excited for it, but he also said that he does not like the art style for Crash, saying that he looks way too crazy and everything. And it was like, you know, that's actually a good point, because eventually they did make Crash, like, you know, over, you know, fucking crazy and out of fucking proportion and shit. Whereas in the first few games he was a goofy character, but he wasn't as goofy as he eventually became. And then I looked back at it and I was like, shit, you're right. This looks weird to me now. So, god damn it, Joe. But no, I'm still interested in it. I haven't really played too much of the Crash games. I played a decent amount of Warped, but my parents actually really got into that game and, like, finished it. But yeah, Crash Bash. Like I said, a little bit of a childhood game here. Put the nostalgia goggles or rose-tinted glasses or whatever the fuck on, and then I was like, this game's alright, but I don't like some of these mini-games.
Yeah, well, yeah, you know, as I was telling you, like, I was telling you, like, off mic before we started recording, you're not the only one. I mean, like, you know, there are a lot of people who have a lot of fond memories, like, of this game, because I think that, you know, like, you were the right age for this game, like, when it came out. You know, because the overall look and feel of the game does kind of feel, I don't want to say childish. I want to say that it's aimed toward like kids and teens, I think, because, you know, the whole look and feel for the whole look and feel of the game, how some of the mini games play. The Crash series was kind of aimed toward kids and teens anyway. I mean, like, you know, with
I felt like Crash was more like teens and like very young adults.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, so
kids.
Well, I mean, like, I'm sure a bunch of kids played it because, you know, it was a popular platformer series at the time. So, yeah. So, I mean, like, you know, just this is not the kind of game that I really was interested in. Like, even if I heard about it back then, I would have been like, yeah, no, not for me. But then this game predates Mario Party. Like also, doesn't it? I mean, I don't remember exactly when Mario Party started, but I'm almost 99% sure it's later. So
you're gonna make me do research now, but no, I'm pretty sure Mario Party had an entry before Crash Bash came out.
Because it started on the N64, right?
Yeah, Mario Party started on the N64.
Okay, so that series that gets older. So, but
Mario Party started in '98.
98.
So
okay, yeah.
It was already out for 2 years.
Yep.
At this point.
So, I mean, I can see a little bit of Mario Party inspiration here, so...
Yes. So, what's interesting is, this game is like an inverse Mario Party, where, like, there's really no story in Mario Party, and it's kind of like, there's a mode where you can play it as a board game, but then also you hit the mini games that you play.
Right.
And the mini games, I like the mini games a lot in Mario Party games, and in this game, it was just like, there's actually, like, a built-up story here. It's not super in depth, but there's a story built up here in this game, and the mini games were actually kind of lacking here, and there's no like board game type thing. It's literally just go and pick a mini game and play it, and then when you finish it, you get a trophy, and then when you get all the trophies, you go fight the boss at the end, and that's a specific boss battle for the game. And then later on, it's just like, play more of these mini games that you already played to get new things like gems and crystals, and then you have to get a specific amount of those to go into the next boss battle. And it's like, I can't stand some of these games, or they just go on for too long, and it just makes me want to skip them, and I can't really do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not saying it's a shitty game, but I'm also not saying it's a very good game. I could see why somebody would want to pick this up and play it. I feel like this is more of a good drinking game than it is a sober game. So, like, every time you lose or you die, you take a drink. and then that's how you have a very good night. And then that turns into a very bad night, which turns into a bad morning. Which is how that most definitely works 100%.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying.
Yes.
Some of the mini games are better than others, of course, and other mini games I think will probably... None of the mini games, I think again, because I'm coming at the perspective of somebody who only played this like the first time of this week. I think some of the games have not aged very well. I'm sure there are probably better games back when the. I'm sure those mini games are probably were probably more fun, like when it first came out. But you know, some of the games are still fun. I think personally, I probably had the most fun, like, with the, what's it called, the Pogo Painter game.
Really, I fucking hated that.
Oh, well, because that reminds me of Q*bert, and I love Q*bert, so.
Okay, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I like Q*bert too, but I don't like this minigame. It doesn't remind me of Q*bert. I would rather go and play Q*bert. I own it on the Intellivision. Pop that in. I would rather pop that in than play the painting thing.
Plus, I was playing this game solo. I'm sure if you're playing this game with like 3 or 4 other humans, like, it's a blast still.
You could actually play 2 players on the adventure mode.
Yeah.
Which is cool and actually very helpful because you. Yeah. I believe you work as a team there,
right.
Technically, this shit's like almost always like free for all. So it's like if one of the players wins, then it counts as both of you get the trophy or whatever. I believe. So the painting mini game really changes up when you. The first one I had no problem with. I felt it was too tedious and it went on for too long. But then when you jump to the second world or whatever it is, the paint minigame goes fucking south. So the first version of it is you're on a pogo stick and you jump on these squares and they paint your color, and to collect your colors you jump on this purple box and it collects it, and you can be an asshole and jump on all the boxes before anybody else, and they're not able to collect. And there's also other like power-ups you could pick up, like one that speeds you up and one that paints a whole row wherever the arrow is pointing when you jump on it, and stuff like that, like a rocket that you could shoot to stun your opponents if you hit them with it. And it's alright, but then shit goes south when you hit the second version of the this pogo jumping thing. So you're in a construction site this time, and there are like circles that you jump on. I couldn't figure out how you collected them, so I jumped around everywhere, and all I did was lose. And I was like, this isn't fun because I can't even get the trophy for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, again, I agree with a lot. I agree with a lot that you're saying. This is going to be an episode like where I'm. This is going to be an episode where I'm going like I agree with George a lot, but
that is going to be like that's like a bizarro episode of this podcast.
But yeah, I had to. But yeah, I don't even have the history or playtime of this game that George does, and I can see.
Played this a lot as a kid.
I can a lot of what you just said. I was feeling in the back of my head is like half-formed thoughts, but you just simply articulated it like in a way I wasn't quite able to do it yet. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that's called. But okay, yeah, I'll go with that. But I mean. I'm trying not to be too harsh in this game, because I think that
I want to be as honest as I can be.
But it's time and place. I can totally see this game as if like it's being a blast, because like I said, a lot of people have very fond memories of this.
Could you call it a bash?
Yes.
A crash bash?
Yes, you definitely could. So, like I said, also, I was always playing this game solo, so I think multiplayer would enhance this game's enjoyment immensely, like even till today, but...
Yes, I would agree so. I played a decent amount of this with my father when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then, like, the rest of it was just like, I'm playing by myself now.
Right.
And being a kid is like... Playing this game and being a kid, I got almost nowhere. But playing this game as an adult, by myself, I got somewhere, and then I got nowhere.
Right.
Because it just... The difficulty ramps up very quickly.
It does.
I feel, yeah. And that's... Because it doesn't... it eases you into what each minigame is, like, in a bare-bones version, basically.
Right.
And then on top of that, when you finish it and you get a trophy, so you have to win 3 times and then you get a trophy. Then what you could do is you can go into challenge modes, and there's 2 challenge modes for each minigame. And they add different things. So one of them, which is the first minigame that you basically encounter, is ballistics, and you have to bounce these like pinballs and make sure they don't go past your goal or whatever. And when you get to a certain amount of balls that pass your goal line or whatever it is, you're eliminated.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I had some fun with that.
Yeah, no, I like that one.
Yeah.
And then going back to the challenges, just to explain, because, I have to explain a minigame, because we didn't do that yet, but to explain, like, a challenge, the way that challenges work is, ballistics, now you can't now you don't have the button to repel the balls. Or, which actually was a little tough. I thought it was going to be easy, but it was a little tough. And then there's another challenge where, like, you have 9 lives instead of 15 or whatever it was.
Right.
I was like, okay, like, yeah, no, that's a fair challenge. But I guess we should probably just talk about these minigames. We talked about ballistics, you just fucking bounce these balls into other people's goals, and then they get eliminated once enough balls have passed the line. And you're in these little... They're kind of like bumper cars, but they only control side to side.
Right.
Which is interesting. What I really hated about that was, to go faster, you have to hold L1 or R1. And I felt my fingers were hurting because I was just always holding that because I was going too slow.
kind of reminded me a little bit about Warlords, that old like Atari game.
Oh my god, yes! Oh my god, I was streaming this, and I brought that up. It reminds me of Warlords. Oh man, yeah, it definitely reminds me of Warlords, but again,
but Warlords did this
is
concept better, because
yes,
Warlords is still a blast to play today.
Right, because you're wearing down somebody's castle, and then you also, when the ball goes into the castle, there's a chance of you not being destroyed because it has to hit a specific target.
Right.
Whereas this, if it goes past the line, that's it. Yes, it reminds me of Warlords. Wow. That's interesting. I just almost freaked out there when you said that. But yes, the next mini game is Polar Push, and everybody's on a polar bear cub. Which, damn, there are some giant characters in this game. Damn, I feel bad for the polar bears, but the point is to push everybody off the sides and be the last person standing. There's not much to it. Eventually, they add things like the stage that you're on is tilting, so now that, like, if you have the momentum, like, you could easily slide off.
Right.
And stuff like that. Or, the arena will start melting. There's stuff like that. That's cool. I kind of like Polar Push. It's alright. Pogo Pandemonium fucking sucks. This is the one we were talking about.
Yeah. We have a different opinion like about this one.
Yeah. Like, I can see why you make that Kubert connection, but so you just, like I said before, you use a pogo stick and you jump on these squares to paint your color, and then you collect those colors and they turn into points. And I always found one AI was getting all the points, and I had no fucking idea why. I really don't like it. There's Crate Crush, which is almost kind of like a beat-em-up kind of like thing. You get health, and then what you do is you throw crates at people, and there's a few different kinds of crates. There are just normal crates, and then there are TNT crates, which once you touch it, it will count down from 3 to 1 and explode.
Right.
If you throw it, it will automatically explode on contact. And then there are nitro crates, which if you touch it at all, it will explode, and it hurts a lot. Wampa Fruit, is that what that's called?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the fruit comes down and you can use it as a healing thing. There's also an attack button. It does not do much damage, but you can be an asshole about it. There are a few different things for this. So there's Jungle Bash, which is just in a jungle setting, and it's just bare bones Crate Crush. You know, make sure you get rid of your opponents before they get rid of you. And then there's Space Bash, which is more frustrating because the way that the game plays is not particularly easy, but what's different in this stage is that the floor starts falling apart in squares. And I don't know if there's a pattern or if you do something specific to do it, but there are times where you will jump across a square and somebody will hit you with something and you will fall into the hole. It happens all the time. There are also times where I feel like hit detection's a little off and then you just fall in the hole anyway. And then there are times where the hole will just appear out of fucking nowhere without any alert and you're standing on it and you'll die. And that one's understandable. That one's understandable. The other ones are a little difficult because sometimes you don't know where you're gonna bounce back, and most of the time it's going to be into a hole.
Definitely an annoying game.
I thought it was alright. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah. If it wasn't so random, I probably would like. I probably would have enjoyed it more because
I loved it as a kid. I remember that much, specifically the space
I can see
one.
that. Yeah.
Snow Bash, which is just the same thing, but you're sliding. And then I think there's another one, Drain Bash. So what happens is the crates are actually locked, which is really weird. So I think you can only push them, maybe? I don't know, I haven't gotten to that. But that is what I know. Tank Wars. I said on the stream that I did that it reminded me of Combat, and then I kind of wanted to take that away because Combat feels better than this game. And I hate to, like... I don't mean to insult this game or anything, but it's just like... Tank Wars definitely needed to be fine-tuned before it was put out. Did you feel that way too?
I thought the game was fine for what it was. I wish that there had been more to it. It kind of felt a bit, not unfinished, just like a basic game when it could have easily been a great game. Like they just had done some additions, tweaks to it. I wouldn't call it unfinished. I just would say that it didn't reach its full potential.
Yeah, the thing is about this one, I did not like it a lot, because... So you turn your tank turret independently of movement, which is fine, but each character, like, works in a different way? Not that the tank works differently for each character, that would be shitty, but, like, each character has a different projectile, and they all, I feel, work differently. And then I just kept accidentally placing mines. That was my own stupidity, and I killed myself. But it's too slow, and the projectiles are too fast. And I found myself a lot of times sitting in front of an AI, pressing the X button, hoping that I killed him faster than he killed me, and then realizing that there's another AI left, and he has full health. I think I only won it once, and then that was fucking it. And then there are different versions of this, but they're not too different from what I understand. Yeah, that one really got me down. Cause
yeah,
it was just like, yeah, this was that was like the breaking point for me. I was like, yeah, I don't know, but two more here. Crash Dash, which actually not a bad name for a minigame. This one's a racing minigame. You're on foot and you're running around a track. I haven't played this recently because it takes a while to unlock this minigame. But I remember it from childhood, and I remember having fun with it, and just looking at images is just like, oh, I kind of want to unlock it and just play with it for a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, like I said, literally just racing around a ring on foot, and or a track, I should say, and you make sure you don't fall off, and there's shit going on, there's crates that appear, and some of the stages I think have like monsters or something that try to attack you. Or, I'm sorry, you're not on foot. What am I talking about? You're in a little spacecraft thing. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said you were on foot. Oh. But, yeah, you're in this little, like, hovercraft thing, and you're trying to race around. I mean, the first one's bare bones, you just race around, and then, eventually you just get more weapons and stuff, I think. It's alright. It's cool.
Yeah.
I kinda like it.
That's pretty much my feeling on it.
Yeah, so, last one here is Medieval Mayhem, and, it is interesting because it's pretty different. Like, how do you explain this? It's pretty different. You have to, like, the first one you have to, like, pop all these fucking balloons. When I was a kid, I was never able to beat it. So I was never able to see what the other ones were like, but they're all different. And it's so weird. The next version is like Dragon Drop, and I'm just looking over this now because I know nothing about this. So each person is riding on a dragon, as opposed to the polar bears that you usually get, and players must touch a jewel that is on the ground, pick it up, and shoot it at a rolling target, with the points scored determined by the area the character shoots from. So there's a ×1, ×2, I believe that's a ×3 3 or 4 and then a times 5, something like that. Yeah, like I said, I've never seen this before, so I don't really have any. It looks alright. It's just like all these like they got to a point where it's just like, what do we do for the last mini game? I don't know. Change the rules completely every time. Now there's mallet mash, and what you have to do is smash mushrooms.
Right.
I don't fucking know. Like, what is this? Then there's Keg Kaboom, where you're fucking throwing powder kegs. I just...
Yeah, there's some weird games in here for sure.
Yeah. But it's so weird because, like, from Ballistics all the way down to Crash Dash is basically the same thing, but the rules are changed a little bit different, and, like, it adds more gameplay. Like, Medieval Mayhem is just like... It shouldn't have been it shouldn't have been one own mini-game. I guess they couldn't think of other ways to, like, incorporate different rules into these things, so they just made it a mishmash?
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. So, like I said before, you have to collect things like trophies and gems and crystals. And, you have to fight bosses, and boss levels are based off of other mini-games. So, like, the first boss is based off of Crate Crush, but he's standing in a fixed position, one's on the other side of the, like, arena, or whatever you want to call it, and he's creating obstacles, and he's creating, like, these tiny minion versions of your character or something, I think.
Yeah.
And they're all trying to attack you. This is a joke because the minions are very easy to take care of. And the boss isn't too hard. Just make sure you don't get hit, you know, X amount of times and you're fine. You know, you only have to finish each minigame once to get into that, and then when you jump into the second warp room, you get, for the next boss battle, which is actually quite a tall order. You need 9 trophies, 6 gems, and 3 crystals, and if I can't even finish some of these mini-games by themselves, I don't know how I'm gonna get the gems and the crystals from them. So that's a little silly. And then the next one goes on and on and on, it just... And then, apparently, I'm looking at this, there's a secret room, and you only get that from multiplayer. And what you have to do is complete the game at 200% completion while playing multiplayer mode with one good and one evil character. That...
Oh boy.
I don't know, I don't know how you're supposed to know that. So, this game... If you're interested in playing this game, I say... Go ahead and do it as long as you are not spending a lot of money on this. But if this is not a game I would suggest to anybody. I would say I would rather say go play Mario Party because that is better. And a lot of people compare it to Mario Party.
That's my feeling like about it also. I'm like, you know, I certainly can see I certainly can understand the appeal of the game, like when it came out, and I think some of the mini games are fine. As a matter of fact, I think some of the mini games could be quite fun today. Like they're like, you know, tweaked it.
Yep.
You tweaked a little bit and changed. I mean, some of the games are quite serviceable. But yeah, I just think Mario Party feels like it's become such a de facto standard for like these kind of games are based on these days, and it just can't hold up to that.
Yeah.
But since you have a history with the series as well as this game, George, I'm curious to hear your opinion. Do you think the Crash Bandicoot license adds anything to this game? I really don't see them really utilize, you know, except for using some of the characters like in the game series. I really don't see anything else going on here that they take from that franchise, which kind of seems like a real missed opportunity to me.
I mean, it kind of does add to it because it does bring in those Crash Bandicoot. It brings a Crash Bandicoot-esque feeling to it because there are, you know, you're playing around with crates, and what do you do in Crash Bandicoot? You jump on crates, you smash crates, you collect fruit, and you do that in some of these things. Is it necessary to have the license on this? Not really. I mean, like, if they made it Petey the Platypus, you know, adventure games or some bullshit, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If they you know, if they just made up a new character on the spot.
Yeah.
And did this game, would it be different? A little bit. Because first off, the Crash Bandicoot license brings in the people. But this game is like a Me Too type of game. Where what I mean is like, oh, Mario Party, I can do it too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think what...
And I'm not saying, like, I'm not saying this game does it poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Just add on to your point. Just add on to your point. My final summation of the game was gonna be, I think Sony just simply looked at what Nintendo did with Mario Party and was like, yeah, we can do a game like that.
So if you want to get into that, Sony has done a bunch of Me Too games.
Well, they looked around though for what the most popular they looked around though for like what the most popular franchise was like at the time, because obviously they didn't have the rich history of game series and franchises and characters to draw upon that Nintendo does.
No, this is their first console, you know.
Right? Yeah. So like, you know, well, what's the most popular franchise? Their franchise right now. Crash Bandicoot. Let's make a game like using those characters.
If you remember those commercials.
Yep, I do.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Great commercials, at least. Better than the games were, I thought. But
whoa, okay. All right.
Well, again, going back to last episode, I did not care for these 3D platformers. Like, are one bit. I thought most of them were garbage. And the graphics in this game are definitely look dated.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because I played this game and I said, wow, like, this game looks good. Like, this is a
by PS1 standards, it looks good. But I'm just saying, like, by now you're like, oh god, these games are ugly. I forgot about that.
Dude, nothing in that game actually looks that blocky. Like, I'm very impressed on what they did because I had to count on more than 2 hands, I think, how many polygons were there. Whereas in a bunch of, let's just say maybe a few JRPGs or something where they wanted to showcase the 3D, you could count on, like, you could count on one hand how many polygons some of the in-battle characters had.
Right.
Like, their models.
Yeah.
Like, you could count on one hand how many polygons they had, whereas this game was just like, this is impressive and nothing... Like, I don't want to say it looks like a launch PS2 game, but it feels like if somebody made a console that was that had the power in between the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2, they were like in the middle there.
Right.
Like, it's that kind of thing where it's like, it's really good for a PlayStation game, but it's just not enough for like a PlayStation 2 game. I don't know what I'm talking about, but like it looks I was very impressed when I went back to it and I looked at it. It's interesting that you say it's dated. I was streaming it, and the listener that was watching the stream, listener of the podcast, was watching the stream and said that it looked good as well. Why do you feel like these graphics are dated?
Just they have this. Well, I'm not. Yeah. I don't mean the game specifically. I just mean, like, you know, just it has that chunky, blocky 3D look. I don't think Crash looks as good in this game as he did looks as good as this game like he has like has some other PlayStation games.
Really?
Yeah. Just that. The camera angles also kind of seem a bit strange. I mean, like, you know,
yes.
They're trying to give it a 3D look, and I don't think they succeeded all that well.
Okay, I never really thought of that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I don't know. It looks good to me. It looks like I was impressed.
Yeah, there are some other things about this game I do like. The controls I thought are fine. They feel responsive enough. They're simple to pick up.
I feel like they're tight. They're tight enough for this type of game. Just for the graphics, one second. Like, I could see what you're talking about. Maybe with like the textures, because you can't. Like, they're not high-resolution textures, they're not...
Well, yeah, that's not what I mean. I just mean,
you're
like...
missing out on that.
Right.
Well, I know, I'm just trying to kind of get a feel for what you're talking about, how, like, it doesn't look as good as other Crash games, because I feel like it was pretty impressive. Maybe it was just me. Maybe my eyes were broken that day, I don't know. I had to put them in the eye repair shop. I don't know.
Also comparing this to other PlayStation games like from this year, obviously graphics were not the main focus of this game. The gameplay was. Right. So I mean, there are other PlayStation games that look better from this time period, but again, that's fine with me, because I understand that obviously the gameplay bugs where they're going for.
Yes.
That was where more of their effort was. But I thought it was a bit difficult sometimes. Sometimes like some mini games to see what was going on because of the graphics. Because some of the shading effects, or some of the when characters overlap one another, for example, made it a bit difficult sometimes to tell like what was going on.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't really see the.
But again, the camera angle was part of the problem with that. I wish you had the ability to change camera angles. That would have helped.
The camera is always the camera is, if it's not the number one problem, it is still a problem in this type of era of games.
Right. Yeah. So.
First 3D console, but what were you saying?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, just to say, the other parts of the game are fine, I thought. We already mentioned the controls. Loading time's pretty good for PlayStation game. The music's not great, but it's serviceable enough for the gameplay, so that's fine too, but...
Yeah, we talked, Listener and I talked about the music, and it was just like, you can't really say much, it's alright.
Yeah.
You will fucking see that loading screen a lot, though. And that music is ingrained into my brain, because the game loads a lot and it plays that music a lot, but it loads quickly, but it loads so often enough that you will get that music stuck in your head. And it's like, fucking get out. Get out, music. Bad music. That music's alright, it's fitting. What kind of music do you create for a Crash, like, party mini-games type of game?
Right.
You make that music.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not you're not getting an orchestra, it's fitting. But this game, I feel like a decent amount of it was pretty creative, just like mini games, pretty creative in the way that, like, oh, this is interesting, like, what can we do? Bounce balls into somebody's like area, and then they get shocked, their machine blows up, and they fucking die with their soul going up to heaven. Like, damn, you had too many balls pass your machine, you go to fucking hell. But it's just like, thinking about that now, that's pretty, like, metal. It's just like, yeah, you failed. We're just gonna blow up your cart and you're dead. Goodbye. But, I felt like a good amount of the minigames were creative. I feel like some of them need more work, though.
It's definitely a mixed bag, but we've been saying that.
That's what this game is. You are correct. This game is a mixed bag.
For when it came
Jeez.
out, for the amount of mini games here, I think it was like 15 mini games like total in the game. But like for the amount of content that was here, I could definitely see this game like being like fun like when it came out for sure. But I just think that Mario Party and other games like that have just like just like surpassed what they're trying to do in this game by leaps and bounds since then. But I had some fun with this today. I mean, it's not great to me, but that's also because I'm also not the audience that this game is being aimed for. But still, I think some of the mini games are quite good. And, I wouldn't mind seeing them rehashed, redone, with play more like modern 2017 sensibility to them. And I'm sure I would have gotten more fun of this game like if I had somebody to play it against. Even bad games can be fun if you have somebody to have somebody to go up against with. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it certainly is a very unique game with the PlayStation. Just kind of curious to see what Sony's trying to do to kind of, I'll be generous and say, copy some of the great work that other companies were doing at the time.
Yeah, there's if you want to count each individual like different version of a minigame, there are 28.
28, okay, alright.
Yep.
I counted 15, but then of course there's a definition between like unique versus variation, so but that's fair.
Yeah, it's a game.
You mentioned earlier that you wouldn't spend a lot of money like this game. What's the game selling for these days?
Oh boy, do you want to get into that?
Yes, I do want to get into that.
I've seen prices are crazy for this game. So I've seen it sell for $4.99. That's disc only. All the way upwards to $80 to $90, but that is factory sealed.
Yeah.
Games that are not sealed go for around 36-ish bucks, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, a little bit higher by PlayStation standards, but I think that's probably because you have the combination of the Crash Bandicoot license plus also the strong nostalgia that people have this game based when it came out. So, but $5, yeah, oh yeah, definitely. You're totally worth $5.
Yeah, I'd say maybe up to 10.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so interesting series of mini games. It's always fun to see what other companies are. It's always funny to see like what kind of Me Too clone games come out whenever a popular concept takes the game world by storm. And this is certainly one of the ones I hadn't heard of for one reason or another. But yeah, definitely an interesting game.
This was the last Crash Bandicoot game for the PlayStation.
Yep.
So I would say you would want to go out with a bang. You went out with a poof. Is that the right term I should use?
Well, it's strange because like both this series and Jak and Daxter that we covered in the last episode both went out with kind of like a strange offbeat guiding game kind of like. So
okay, yeah.
So interesting.
I just want to ask you, have you seen the cover art for this game?
No, I haven't.
Oh. Do you want to see it?
Sure.
Okay. Here, I'll send it to you right now. I just do you think this cover art really encompasses what the game is about?
Yes and no.
Okay. All right.
That's a very wishy-washy answer, but give me a moment here to try to articulate that maybe like a bit better.
Okay. This game was the second game in the Crash series to be capable of using a multi-tap, following Crash Team Racing, which was a September '99 game.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, because this game supports up to this game supports up to like 4 people, right?
Yes, I never had enough friends to have 3 people, so I found that buying a multi-tap was not very important because I did not have enough friends to support said multi-tap.
Right.
Yeah.
The cover's fine I think, like what they're trying to get across. I mean, like, it's Crash and his friends. It's a
Crash and his friends are on a crazy adventure. They're trying to defeat the evil mascot thing in this wacky minigame compilation. Coming out November 6, 2000. Sorry, go on. I don't know why. I just felt like that was necessary.
Well, that's pretty much all I was going to say about it. Yeah, just like, I think it gets the point across just fine. It's a great no, but it gets the job done.
In Crash Bash, you can play from X amount of characters and... oh my god. What a wacky game. So... in closing, I would not want to pay upwards of $10. I feel like that would be the maximum for this game.
Right.
Thank God I already have it. So that will be stowed away for maybe a rainy day where I want to play a drinking game because I hate myself. That's not true, but that's a joke.
All right.
And it's something to come back to and then say, oh, that's right, I put this away because I hated some of the minigames, and then pull it back out and say, oh right, I put this away because I hated some of the minigames.
Right.
But, to be honest, like, it's not that bad. Apparently a lot of review sites gave it some good reviews. I think the only person who really agrees with me is, I believe it was Ryan Davis from GameSpot at the time who reviewed this, basically said what I said. It is not bad, but it is also not great. So yeah, what do you have to say? Did you say everything you need to say?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I just think if you have some affection for Crash, if you have some affection for like Mario Party-ish games, this one could be like worth a spin.
Okay.
At least just like check it out. I certainly don't think it's gonna be anywhere near your regular playing rotation, but
no.
But
unless you play only drinking games,
right?
Then
yeah,
yes.
but if you get some friends over, if I want to play a game that's different than Mario Party, like for change, then just kind of take it out and see how it holds up. So.
Yeah. Oh, I had to scramble for a memory card, and when I say scramble, I had to plug in my fucking 5 memory cards to see which one had enough space to save this game.
Right.
Oh, PlayStation memory cards are so bad with how much memory is on them.
Yeah. True. Because you definitely had to stick to the first party ones. The first party ones for those, because third party ones would fuck your shit up.
I never had any problems with the third-party ones.
Oh boy,
I actually had to buy some modern third-party ones because original PlayStation memory cards, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't really find them, and then I was afraid to look on eBay because I'm afraid
really
somebody's going to be like, "Oh, $5,000 because I'm an asshole" or something.
I've also heard. I also have some doubts. Have some doubts as to how viable the cards are because I stored.
I
because
never had a problem.
Well, I had a bunch of. I had a bunch of first party memory cards. They're all from Sony. Maybe about like 5 or 6 of them. I stored them all the way. I stored all of them away years ago in a storage bin, temperature controlled, out of the elements, that kind of stuff. No extreme temperatures, or anything like that. Dug them back out a couple years ago after, and I'm like, oh, I got rid of my system 15 years ago. I don't need these. So, listed them on Amazon, sold most of them. Apparently 2 out of 5 of the cards I had to give refunds because they claimed that the cards no longer worked.
I don't know if that's people being shitty or if they were actually talking the truth, but that's weird because knock on fake wood or whatever this desk is made out of. Like, I've never had a problem with a memory card. I've had a third-party PS2 memory card that was like, I want to say it was like 64 megabytes. And, that thing got thrashed around and something happened where it's like something heavy fell in it.
Right.
And it fucking smashed the casing. So I just took the motherboard of the memory card and plugged it into the PS2, and it still worked. Had everything on there. So I must have, like, the memory card gods, like, must be looking down upon me and say, no, this one's special, or something like that. Because, like, I've honestly never had a problem with memory cards, as far as I remember.
Yeah. I had 2 third-party memory cards, and they both cost me precious game data, so I stayed away from that stuff.
I had a GameCube memory card that was a third-party one that fucked me over.
Oh yeah, that was the thing on the GameCube, wasn't it? Like, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I've had a problem with a GameCube memory card, but nothing for PlayStation or PlayStation 2. I don't know.
Oh, the PS2 ones I never had a problem with, but again, I learned my lesson. I stuck to official first party ones, like, for those.
Well, when the memory card shortage hits, I don't know where you're gonna go when you fill up your memory cards. That was a bad time. That was a bad time.
Never had a problem because I bought 2 of them. I bought 2 of them like my system, and that's all I needed because those cards are bigger.
8 megabytes was a decent size for that time.
Yep.
So, anyway, instead of having the whole episode turn to memory card talk, we should probably get out of here.
Yes, I think that sounds a good idea.
Yeah, I know, you already booted up Civ 5.
We don't know, we don't know what we're covering next time, do we? We have to talk about that off mic?
We do. I'm in talks with a guest right now. If we cannot get him in the next 2 weeks, I will have to think of a backup for the next episode.
Which would be a PS2 game.
Yep.
Okay, yep.
Which I have a good idea of what I want it to be, but
okay,
we'll talk about that later.
So stay tuned. So
yep. So thanks for listening. If you enjoy what you listen to, you can back us on Patreon. It helps a ton. You have no idea. All the patrons, thank you so much, because honestly, helping me out a lot here. Helps keep the lights on and so on and so forth. Like when I had my equipment die and then I had to get new equipment, that really helped out a ton. Patreon.com, patreon.com/THEBOXFORT, the Box Fort. You can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Please, if you enjoy the podcast, give us a rating. We've already gotten, at least in North America, we've gotten, or the US I should say, 1 review, 5 stars. Thanks a lot for that. You can also find the podcast on the website, which is teboxfort.com, as TEHBOXFORT.com. We have a Facebook group. You can look up PlayStation Power, and you should be able to find it and join us there. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Chief, that is at MISTURCHEEF. Some interesting stuff I post up there, especially I found a skin for Steam that looks like around the 08 era of Steam, which I love. And I posted a picture of that. Like, this is amazing. Anyway, if you take the same name, same spelling, Mr. Chief, and look up that on YouTube, Hitbox, Twitch, or Ustream, you can find me streaming. Been doing some good stuff there, having some fun. And yeah, you can find me on other podcasts, such as SNES podcasts that Greg and I do, The Box Fort, where people hate us, and and Master System Masterpieces, a Master System podcast. Woo! If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email PlayStationPower@theboxfort.net. That is PlayStationPower@THEBOXFORT.net. Greg, where can we find you?
Well, besides those regular places that George mentioned, we also have a Facebook page, so please come check us out, click on there. And you can also email me directly at the SNES podcast yahoo.com, which is the podcast I use for the other podcast. But really, this is George's baby, so you should be emailing me like you should be like you email and can't like leave me alone. But so we always appreciate your support, and thank you very much for listening. Like it means a lot to us.
Yes. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Take care.